Today we're going to look at word bank and how to create search sets using that specific word bank. So I have some templates here with possible searches, and I, as you can see, have included the Boolean operators. This is not how you always have to set up a search. It's just a guideline for this example. So let's look at our word bank. We want to combine two of our search terms in our list in order to make a good focused search for our topic, which is the Montgomery bus boycott. So we have bus boycott. Let's choose that one. I'm going to just copy it and paste it down below here. We want to add the Boolean operator and we're going to connect it with which search term do we like. How about Rosa Parks? Very important person who participated in the Montgomery bus boycott. Let's get rid of a little bit of that. Now let's look at this. Bus boycott and Rosa Parks. What can we do to these search terms to make them more functional and more precise for our search? That's right. We can convert them into unit search terms by enclosing them in quotation marks. Do that right quick. Now it's going to function, each of those terms is going to function as one thing. Bus boycott and Rosa Parks. I think that's a pretty good precise search. Let's say that we just wanted to get right to the point and not use a Boolean operator. Get rid of that. And there were several other bus boycotts that occurred throughout the country during the civil rights movement. So we want to be specific about the one we're interested in. We have the word Montgomery in our word bank, Montgomery, Alabama to be precise. But let's just specify it as Montgomery. Now we are giving this search some precision and some focus. Referring to the Montgomery bus boycott, we are turning it into a unit search term because it's already in the quotation marks, so it will function as one thing. It won't search for each of those words separately in the records in Quest or EBSCOhost or whatever search tool we're using. It will look for them all together. Okay, groovy. Moving on. Let's try the word or the Boolean operator or. Remember that it's best to use or if you're looking at alternate spellings or synonyms. It helps you reduce the number of search sets you have to execute. So we want to look for items that use the word coloreds. Let's put it down here. Or the word Negroes, which are synonyms, and they are the terminology that was used at the time when the Montgomery bus boycott took place, as opposed to the more commonly used blacks or African Americans that is more common today. Alright, so coloreds or Negroes. Gosh, that's a little bit broad. That could incorporate a lot of other things into our results list besides what we are specifically looking for. What can we do to this search to make it more precise, more focused on our specific need? Coloreds or Negroes, and we want to add something to it to make it more precise. How about, well, if we add something like history or protest or segregation or background, all of those things are also broad. If we put protest down here, it's going to be give us a lot of things that don't have anything to do with the Montgomery bus boycott. I think our best bet is to do this, Montgomery bus boycott, make it unit search term, and I think that's a good search term to use. We want to do something more to coloreds or Negroes to make this search work more succinctly, more precisely. Look at our templates up here. I think the best idea is to enclose it in parentheses. So this will work now like an algebra equation. It will look for the word coloreds and the word Negroes in each record, filter those out, kind of set it to the side, and then from that result list it will add in the term Montgomery bus boycott as a unit search term, and the results that we will see will only include one or the other, coloreds or Negroes, and Montgomery bus boycott. So we'll get that instantaneously in a result list, but it will have been filtered down to what we think are our specific needs. This is going to focus on more historic kind of documents. For example, if we were using the Historical New York Times database, that is going to look for newspaper articles that were written and published at the time when this was happening, and this is going to be more successful than if we used the terms blacks or African Americans and Montgomery bus boycott. Now let's look at the Boolean operator not. You'll recall that you need to be really careful when using this connector because it eliminates things from your result list before you have a chance to know that they even exist. So let's choose Dr. King. And he did a lot of things, as we all know, connected to the civil rights movement. And he was assassinated also in 1968 in April. We don't really want to focus on that part of his story. We want to only focus on his connection to the Montgomery bus boycott, so we don't want things that deal with his assassination. So we've done this search set. Now, before we would try to execute it, let's look at it for a minute. We have Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Yes, that is his name, but the computer system doesn't like all that extra stuff and extra punctuation. So let's take off his title, whoops, and the suffix Jr. We also don't need that comma. Now, we want to make this a unit search term because we want his name to function as one thing. We don't want information about other kings who were assassinated in Europe or wherever. Also, we are looking at Dr. King as our subject, not as the author, so his name would be in this order. If we were looking for things written by him, we would put King Martin Luther. He is a subject, so it goes in this order. Now, as you know, using this search is dangerous because there may be a book written about his life that includes information about how his life ended and would also include information about his participation in the Montgomery bus boycott. But if the word assassination is mentioned in the record for that book, in a table of contents or a summary, you're not going to get that record in your result list because you've said you don't want the word assassination in the record. Remember, your searches look at the records, the words that are in the computer system, not necessarily the words that are in the book or the magazine article. You need to be very careful about using this. All right, this is just a brief overview of how search sets work. If you struggle with putting together successful search sets, it might be useful to you to look at your search terms as individuals and play around with them in a Word document or on a piece of notebook paper, maybe even note cards that you can write individual search terms on and shuffle around with note cards that include your Boolean operators. Maybe it will help you to look at your search terms and evaluate them for their value as individual words before you try to just type them into Quest or EBSCOhost or whatever, Google, whatever it is that you're using. If you have questions, problems, you're not finding what it is that you're looking for, don't hesitate to ask your instructor. Good luck and happy searching.